Shubh Sayam Swagatam. Good evening. Team Hingori Sutra extends a very warm welcome to you all. Today is World Sanskrit Day. Sanskrit, known to be the mother of all languages, is believed to be the oldest extant language on earth, stemming roughly from around 3 to 5,000 years ago. Considered to be the basis of many of the world's languages, Sanskrit has ties to Greek, Latin, the Roman languages, and Middle Eastern languages. The word Sanskrit means refined, joined together, or perfect, indicating that it is a highly regulated and orderly language in terms of grammar. What may often be overlooked, however, is the importance of the particular sound vibrations used. For it is not merely the act of chanting, but more importantly, the use of Sanskrit that produces profound change within people. In fact, the only Vedic literature, it is not only Vedic literature, but the modern science today has declared that Sanskrit chanting is an extremely enjoyable, powerful way for people to transform and awaken, a magical vehicle for accessing higher states of consciousness. We could not think of a better way to honor this highly evolved language than to do a session on one of the most popular and powerful mantras, the Gayatri Mantra. And who better than Shri Raji Sharma ji? Raji ji does not need an introduction. An exponent of the ancient scriptures and dedicated practitioner of the Gayatri Mantra, Rajiji has obliged to help us understand the deeper meanings of the Gayatri Mantra. Rajiji, Shubh Sayam Swagatam. I hope I've got that right. Aapka bahut swagat hai. Rajiji, can you hear me? I cannot hear you, see you. Hanji.
Yes, thank you very much. And pranam to everybody. Welcome to this little talk on Gayatri.
Hanji. Ji, let's begin with understanding the most fundamental concept before we get into Gayatris. Rajiji, can you explain to us what is a mantra?
Mantra basically is a combination of sounds which have come from Nad. Nad means the primordial sound that came in had the shabd of Om. So the Om also came from somewhere. It came in from that cosmic primordial sound that existed when nothing existed. So it is the sound that came in first, which is the characteristic of space. So the sound came in from space. And these great rishis had the vision to decipher that sound from the Nad and then put it into an alphabetical letter form or akshar. Akshar basically means which is indestructible. Akshay, which is not destructible. And then they were able to put in by their own vision the science that they had to formulate combinations of the sound for effective growth of the whole universe. So the mantra is not only for the personal use or growth, it was designed for the benefit of the whole universe. That is what all the Veda rishis have only talked about: benefit of the nation, benefit of the world, benefit of the universe, and very little about themselves. And when they talk about themselves, it's only to the extent that what is there in the universe, oh Lord, provide me too. So this is how the mantra basically came about. Now, mantra means, if you were to sandhi visheth karo it or break it up, it means man and mantra. So something that has to be recited in the mind. The man is the mind. And reciting it inside, this is a simple definition of mantra. Of course, with all its other science involved in it, the antara also represents actually clearing out of the mind. So when you recite a mantra inside the mind, what does it do? It clears off everything else and just let remain that original being, or that sense of the being, or the essence of the being in itself. So it clears out the all the impurities. That's why they said when you do mantra jap, it's slowly and gradually. It's like taking away moss from a water tank which has gathered over the part of years. And in our present context, it's not the years, it's lifetimes. So the repetition of the mantra or the jap clears that moss away and brings the crystal clear water out. Now, mantra, there are actually 4 divisions of mantras. But I would say it is the science of combination of the words or sounds. What is the mantra? Mantra means with all the beach akshars in it, like cream, clean, these beach akshars that have been derived from the akshars of the universe, of the Nard. So when all these are combined in various combinations, it makes a mantra. And this science, to be able to see it and to compile it, was there with the great rishis. Now, when you do the mantra, there are times that you also need some external help. So you need a little bit more quicker, powerful meaning to it. So what they did was, they formed what is called the agam and the nigams, in which the tantra was introduced. Now let me tell you that tantra is nothing but it's not anything bad about tantra. Tantra is another vidya, like the mantra vidya. But in this particular case, what you happen, you take an external help. External help of what? Of modifying the pronunciation of the basic akshars or the beej akshars. Like for instance, if there is a beej akshar called M, it will become end. If it's green, it will become ring. If it's shrim, it will become shring. Now the part of this are also the agams, in which these were a little bit twisted and given it a different character, with the g also representing that knowledge to be able to turn it around and the knowledge of the guru. Apart from the tantra, this vidya also goes on a little bit more into symbols, into which are called the yantra. The yantras are basically symbols, triangles, squares, circles, written words with these tantric akshars. And they're normally done on either metal plates, wooden plates, or even on paper, on earth, on stones. So that forms a part of that cosmic energy, of that Nada energy, to get into a form shape. Here we're only talking about the mental, mansik, or within the mind recitation of the mantra. Then beyond this is also what is, but you also need help for other things, like there are animals who get sick. So for that, a separate division has been made into the mantric philosophy, which is called Chanting. So you'll observe many places in the necks of the cow, they have these little things hanging, and they have little wordings written in it, some squares and some shapes made into it, like a hieroglyphy. So this is the basic formula of the mantric philosophy. However, the mantric philosophy has a few aspects to it. The mantric philosophy, there has to be a seer of the mantra, or the drashta of the mantra, the one who's be able to see it. So the one who sees is the seer, and the seer is the rishi. The other is that whenever you have a mantra, there has to be, you're meditating on something. So the one that you're meditating on becomes the deity of the mantra. And since there's a deity and you have to say it in a prose, there is a certain set of principles that this prose is composed of. And that principle that is composed of is called a chand.
What does a chand mean?
Chand is basically a prosody, which is the arrangement of words of letters and consonants, which have high and low sounding.
Okay. What does it do?
It gives you that. See, it's like when you sing, you have a low pitch and a high pitch. It gives you the sense of the combination of the cosmic energy and the sound, where it has to be said slowly, approached slowly, and also sung high. Like I praise and high of this, I pray to you. So these are something which is, see, in the mantra there are three important things. One is the mantra always has a praise. So all mantras that you take have a praise aspect to it. We'll confine it, we'll narrow down to Gayatri, for instance. So there is a meditative part of the mantra. The third is the prayer part of the mantra. So if you were to take the Gayatri mantra, so what do we praise? We praise, oh, the beautiful one, the illuminated one, the self-effulgent one, the Varanium Bharga, the beautiful, the world's the finest or the best light. So we are praising it. And what do we say? We meditate. We want to meditate. So there's a meditative aspect to it. And the third is the prayer. We say, oh, please, oh Lord, come and enlighten us. So these are three aspects of the mantra which are very important. And in fact, all the mantras have all these are the characteristics of the mantra. In fact, all the Vedas, all the rishis, what are they doing? They're praising the whatever deity that they praise, whether it's Indra, it's Agni, it's Vayu, it's Varuna, it's Marut, any deity that you take it, or Ashwins. So they are actually first praising them. Then we say, oh, we want to meditate on you. And then we have the prayer for them. So these are three aspects of the mantra which are very, very important. And
now coming to the Gayatri Mantra ji, what makes the Gayatri Mantra one of the world's most powerful mantra?
Very tough question to answer, because there's so much of Gayatri and so much of that power that exists in Gayatri that's very difficult actually to express it. However, I'll try to do best. See, when you talk about Gayatri Mantra, what is that mantra of? It is a Savita mantra. Savita, which is identified in our Hindu philosophy as that light from where all light originates. It's not the light of the Vedi or the Havan or the Yagna, not the light of the thunder and lightning, not the light of the sun, not these submarine fires of the within the earth, but it's a fire. That fire, that light that runs all over the world. That light that also provides light to the sun. that light that provides light to all the galaxies, to all the stars. So that is the light that is we talk about, Savita. Now, if you observe, even in Buddhism, they talk about the light, which they call as sattva, bodhisattva. What does that mean? Sattva is that light, the purity of the purest light. So that is what a Savita is. Now that is what makes it so important, because that is that light that transcends and manifests into all forms, into the speech. It is that light that the sun derives itself, the light, and then sun is what gives us the light, and where this earth or all the other planets around it flourish. It is that light that is light in the earth. It is that light of that consciousness that exists. So Savita is not just light, it is a light of consciousness. And that same consciousness that manifests itself into the human beings, to plants, animals, vegetation, and even into the stone. So they are talking about that light, which is that Savita.
That's powerful.
And Savita is also termed as Gayatri. So that makes such a powerful month, which means the mother of all months.
Science has done many researches on the Gayatri Mantra, not only in India, but in the West as well. It has been now scientifically proven that chanting the Gayatri Mantra produces 110,000 sound waves per second. The strength has been tested by an American scientist called Dr. Howard Steingrill, if I got his name right. And the combination of these sound waves at this particular frequency of the mantra is claimed to be capable of developing specific spiritual potentialities. In Hamburg University in Germany, they initiated a research into the efficacy of the Gayatri Mantra, both on the mental and physical plane of the creation. In fact, Gayatri Mantra was broadcasted daily for 15 minutes over the radio. In South America too, they tested in Amsterdam and Holland. There were multiple researches done. And research also showed a lot of medical benefits, improving your memory, increasing your brain capacity, and an overall health of the person who chants it regularly. So the chanting of the Gayatri Mantra provides material and physical benefits we've all read. And it also produces spiritual benefits we've all read about. The point is, this sounds great when we read about it, but today we have an opportunity to listen to a first-hand experience from you. Could you share your experience about the Gayatri Mantra?
See, what does the Gayatri? Then you start to meditate or chant with meditation. Meditation means, you see, there's a difference. First, let me explain, there's a difference between chanting and meditation. Chanting means a repetition of something with an object in mind. So you have an object there. Whereas the meditation is a nirvikalp, or is an abstract kind of meditation. When you do the Gayatri Mantra, what are you concentrating on? You're concentrating on that light. Whether it be in the shape of a light form that you want, the shape of sun, or in the shape of the Agni in a yagna Vedi, or in the shape of a flame. Now, what is happening? You are concentrating on a light. Where is that light taking you? That is the experience that you have. that light that you're concentrating on takes you to the divinity of the light itself. And there's that light, it teaches you, it enlightens you. See, what we're doing is we're asking it, that light, to tell us, to enrich, to enlighten us. When you do the Gayatri meditation, chanting with meditation and concentration, a lot of things happen. It gives you a feeling of elation, feeling of bliss, happiness. It gives you a feeling which is beyond the comprehension of the present worldly appearance. And it actually takes you to the point of from where everything began, or to that little pramanu, or the atom, or the atom's anu, and even to the subtlety of it. That's where it takes you. It's how you stretch it. Let me give you an example. Let's say take a point. So we have one point. That point we say is the divine light, or the divine soul, the existence, whatever you want to call it, from where everything began. Even the science today admits that everything began from one small little speck. Whether you want to call it the black matter, or the Big Bang theory, whatever you want to call it. But it began from a very small speck. Now that speck is just a speck. But if you take a pencil and put a point, and then you make a line, so you start to stretch it. So the moment you start to stretch it, you've already made a duality, because once you end that line, there's another point. The definition of a line is which is a joining of 2 points. So the whole philosophy is to get back to one point. The second point is the other point of consciousness. So that this point is consciousness, and the other is the other consciousness in which we live in today, or the worldly appearance. So what does Gayatri do? When we concentrate on it, it shortens the gap of the 2 dots, or the 2 points. And it assists you to come to that point, that oneness of unity, of the duality. You feel during meditation, you get to know a lot of things which are not written in the books, but they come by intuition. With the Gayatri Mantra, at a certain time in the mornings, you can hear the sounds of the universe, the sounds of silence. You can hear the sound of those great rishis, that fire that is in the cosmic fire. So that is the experience, part of the experience. It's so vast that it's incomparable. It's something that indefinable. So, but those are the kind of things that you get to know by intuition, automatically, without going through reading or any scriptures, because that knowledge is in itself, by itself. So that is why I feel it is one of the strongest mantras. It is beyond the comprehension of science also. And it is the same, you say it gives 100 and some thousand vibrations. That is also an atomic part of the vibration that it gives.
True. And Raji, now if we can learn something about the Gayatri Mantra, and if you start with the basic as to what is the meaning of Gayatri Mantra, can you explain to us, please?
See, normally when you read in descriptions of the Gayatri Mantra, they say, we meditate on the beautiful light of the sun, which may give us light to our intellect and propel us towards that divinity. So if you see all that has been written, they start from something what is called meditate. So now let's review. If we were to take what they are saying, we meditate on that light, that beautiful light, on that sun, and that sun give us intelligence and propel us towards there. So that is the basic meaning of it. If we were to put it literally just the way that they are talking, so we say meditate. What would that mean? So let us understand the word meditate or the intent of the rishi when he was coining this mantra. So we would say, let's take it in a sequence. So we would say, what was the purpose of the mantra? What was he trying to say? What was he trying to do? And what was the core intent of this mantra? So we say, oh, Dhimahi, we meditate. Okay? We meditate on what? So we meditate on that Varenium Bharata. First, let me recite the Gayatri Mantra. It says, Tat Savitur Varenium Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodaya.
Could you explain each word?
Yeah, I'll explain to you. So there is no Bhur Bhuvaswa. The Gayatri Mantra is only a Savita Mantra which begins, which is there in the, I think it's Mandala 3, and 62, and the 10th mantra of the Sutra. So what is it saying? They only say Tat Savitur. But the meaning is, we meditate on what? We meditate on that Varenium Bharata. What is Varenium? Varenium means Varne Yoga. Varnan karne wala. Varenium. Most beautiful one. You know, like you could also define it in Hindi, like say, ye kaun hai? Ye var hai. Var vadhu. So why is the man called the var when they are getting married? Oh, he's the most beautiful one. He's the best one. Varenium Bharga. Bharga is what? Bharga means the light. The brilliant light is Bharga. So we meditate on what? We meditate on the Varenium Bharga. Now, whose light are we meditating? So that is what the Rishi was contemplating. Whose light are we meditating on? Oh, we're meditating on that one, that Savita. That light, which is also projected as the sun. Because, see, that light you can't see, it's an invisible light. But it's the most prominent light, because that is a light which is the powerhouse, generating house of all lights all over the world. But because the most brilliant light that you can see from Earth is, of course, the sun. So we call it Savita. Savita, Savitur. Now, but why are we doing this? What is the purpose of meditating on that beautiful light, whose light, Savita's light? We want to prepare ourselves. Who? Nah. We want to prepare ourselves. To where? Prepare what? Our Dhimahi, our mind, our intellect. And from where are we trying to propel it? We're trying to propel it from a grossness to the subtleness. The grossness. So what is the grossness that we talk about? Oh, it's the earth principle, which is the grossest. From earth principle, we go, which is the Bhu principle. And from Bhu principle, then moving to the Bhuva principle. So Om Bhu, Om Bhuva, Om Swa. So to a higher plane of consciousness or existence. So when the Rishi was trying to put this together, he had a little bit of difficulty. Because as far as the Savita Mantra is concerned, there are several of them, many of them in the Rig Veda. and also in the Yajurveda. The closest one I would say is one that was done by Rishi Swaswa in Mandala 5 or 52nd, something like that. But it was done in the Trishtu form of recitation of the prose. Now, as there are basically seven kinds of chant or the prose that's been made, which is Gayatri, Anushtup, Brihati, Pankti, Trishtup. So there are 7 of them. These increase in number. So Trishtup, for instance, was a 44 letter combination of a prose. So the Rishi was trying to contemplate it to be done faster, quicker, and more meaningful in a shorter number of words. So he had to rearrange the words of meditating on that Sadhguru, and he came up with this 3 pad Gayatri, or the 3 feet of Gayatri, or the 3 lines of Gayatri, which is Om, which is Tat Savitur Varenyam, is the first part, or the first line, or the first leg of Gayatri. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi is the second one. Diyo Yona Prachodaya. Now, why? So that is why he had to put it in this kind of a combination, because the Gayatri chant or the meter has to contain 3 lines with no more than 8 akshars. So they have to be only 8 akshars. So he had to put in the 8 akshars, and those are the 8 akshars that he put in. What are the 8 akshars? If you take the first line, say Tat Savitur Varenyam. So it's one is Tat, right? Sa, Vi, Tu, Va, Ri, Ni, Yam. Makes it 8. So these 8 akshars with their consonants form the first pad of Gayatri, or the first leg of Gayatri, or the first line of Gayatri. The other is Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. So in the Bharga, there is Bha. Ragu. The Ragu, it becomes, it's you can say go, but because of the Bha and the Ra, and the go, the Ra comes as a pronunciation. So it means, so it says go, Di, Ma, Di. So these become the other 8. Devasya Dhimahi, Diyo Yona Prachodaya. So they and Vas, these also apart. I mean, I'm sorry, it mixed up. I was getting a little too quicker. But then it's the 8 akshars from the other part of the pada, and the other 8 from the third part of the pada. But Gayatri is also known as the 4-footed Gayatri. The 4-footed.
4 pad कह रहे हो तो आप, you've just said 3, so I'm a little confused. Which is the 4th pad?
So the 4th pad is the pad of the 3 Vyarathis, the Bhu, Bhuva, and Swa, and then which actually comes in the Yajurveda, also by Vishwamitra. When these 3 words are combined with the primordial sound of Om, it becomes the 4th pad of Gayatri. But the Bhur Bhava Swa is not only for Gayatri. It is a auspicious, great divine utterance. The level of utterance is what is the path of Bhu, Bhuvaswa, and Om gives it that power of the universal acceptance of Brahma.
Right. Ji, you mentioned just a little earlier about the akshars. What do these akshars represent? What are the significance of all these akshars?
You see, akshars are basically sounds. So these akshars that I just told you, the Sa, Vita, and all this, these are the sounds that have come into being, or they were got on by the rishis and put them into the mantric form. These represent, they are 24. And these 24 represent the 24 akshars that the Gayatri consists of.
What are these 24 akshars?
I just mentioned them to you. It is the Tat, Sa, Vi.
Okay. Right. Hanji. So when you said that, you mentioned Vyarthis just now. What does Vyarthi mean?
See, Vyarthi basically means utterances, holy utterances, of the levels of holy utterances, where the existence takes place. So that is what is Vyarthi.
Hanji. So how many Vyarthis are there in the Gayatri Mantra?
The mantra has 3 Vyarthis. It's Bhu, Bhuva, and Swa. Total, there are 7. These also represent the 7 levels of existence. There are actually 14 levels of existence. But why? Is because there are 7 levels which are below existence there, and the 7 are the earth and the above. So there's Om Bhu, Om Bhuva, Om Swa, Om Maha, Om Jana, Om Tapa, and Om Satyam. Satyam being the highest level, where Satyam means the divine truth. Now, what is a divine truth? Why is it called Satyam? If you do a breakdown of the word, it is Sat and Yam. Sat means existence or pure existence. Yam means the continuity of it, the power to continue it and sustain that Sat is the Yam. So that's why it becomes Satyam. So these are the levels of existence which are also called Bhairathis. And the first 3 are in the Gayatri Mantra. That's why the Gayatri Mantra, as far as the Gayatri Mantra is concerned, these are the 3. But once you do the Sandhya Gayatri, then the 7 are repeated, and along with it, another addition is done to the mantra, which I will not be able to repeat because of certain reasons and restrictions. So then they combine all the 8 akshars. Let me just again repeat the akshars to you. So if you say Tat Savitur Varenyam, so the one akshar is Tat, the other is Sa, is V, Tu. It is actually when the U and the V meet, the pronunciation comes R. So it's R, Re, Ni, and Yam, making it. Then we say, the Varanian is one line, is one part. The other is Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. So Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. That is the other line. So it says Bha is one akshar. So when the and the G, the R is pronounced automatically. So the other is the go or the pro. They, was, the, ma, he, making it it. And then we come to Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. So Dhi becomes what? Yo. Yo. Nah. Pra. Cho. The. Yat become the other eight. So these complete the 24. And within the 24, this, and with the combination of the three lines, become the three pada of Gayatri and the 24 akshars.
Ji. You just mentioned one of the things is the level of existence where there are 14 Om, Bhu, Bhuva, Swaha. What else does the Gayatri Mantra represent? I mean, I heard that there are the faces of the Gayatri Mantra, colors, and there are various other meanings of the fives of Gayatri Mantra. So what are the others that they represent?
You see, first, if you were to take, there are two parts, there are various parts of the Gayatri Mantra. So first, if you were to take the 24, the 24 are the akshars which combine into various other kinds of worldly meanings and existences, and where you want to go from. Maybe we can discuss that a little later. But once you ask me the question of five, there are, we say the Gayatri is Panchmukhi. So what does Panchmukhi mean? It is not that it's got, actually, there's a Devi with five faces. The Devi is what is when we call about the tantric value. When you go to a mandir to worship Devi, it's also tantric. It's also tantric puja because it's not the own original akshar puja. So these five faces basically represent the five Shaktis, the aspect of the five in our Hindu philosophy. What is the aspect of the five in the Hindu philosophy? These are, you can call the Panch Pran, the five elements, the five Agnis, the five Yog, the five fires, the five Dev, the five Yog, five Ang. So there are a lot of fives, including the Yog, five Kosh. So all these avasthas, Sul, so there are various aspects of the five. So it's the punch that make the five, and that is why you have five fingers. And all those five elements are also present in the five fingers. So these have the Gayatri, because five faces is only embodiment, representation of those various powers. And they have their own colors. They have their names.
Right.
So this is what the punch actually represents, the five faces of Gayatri.
Ji, Radhiji, like we discussed earlier, there are multiple surveys that have been conducted on the effect of the Gayatri Mantra, many of them revolving around the human body. Now, I read that the Gayatri Mantra activates several glands with the effect of improving focus and concentration, among other things. What are these glands and what change does the mantra produce in them?
Okay. Where does this mantra actually originate from? It originates. So let me explain you the philosophy of the 24. So once you understand the philosophy of the 24, how it's coming in, you'll be able to understand. 24 akshar makes Gayatri. Those alphabets make them Gayatri. Now, who's the seer of those alphabets? So there are, you can say, okay, there's one rishi who combined the Gayatri into 24 akshars, which is the Savita mantra, but there are a lot of other seeds of the Savita mantra. So there are some rishis who actually also became part of the 20 of the Gayatri akshars, and there are the 24 great divine rishis. There's a long list, which Vishwamitra is there, Agastya, Vasishtha, Gautam, Vamadev. So several of them. There are 24 of them who became the 24 rishis of the Gayatri Mantra, and each akshar. So when these akshars have to come to earth, because then it's only in the air. When they come to earth, so who is the receiver on this earth? So you see, the receiver is a life form, and the most intelligent life form is a human being. So these come to the human being into the body in 24 places in the body, which are the 24 granthis, or also called, we can call them glands. Now, each of these glands, which are 24 in number, have got its own embodied Devi or Devta. So making it 24 Devi Devtas of the Gayatri. Now each Devi Devta of the 24 have their own mantra, which is called the Up Gayatri or the Dev Gayatri mantra. For instance, let's take the mantra of Ganesh, for instance. So Ganesh is also one part of the deity of the Gayatri mantra, representing the Tat. So in this, there are three important words. One is Vidmahe, the other is Dhimahi, and the third is Prachodaya. So let's say for Ganesh, what would we say? Vidmahi basically means we realize. We observe and we realize. Dhimahi means to meditate. And Prachodaya means which will prepare it. So if you were to say, let's say a mantra on Ganesha, we say, Om Ekdantaye Vidmahe Vaktundaye Dhimahi Tanno Dannit Prachodaya. Or if you take Dhanvantari Gayatri, it will be Om Tat Purushaye Vidmahe Amrit Kalash Hastaye Dhimahi Tanno Dhanvantri Prachodaya. Similarly, you can go to Lakshmi, like Lakshmi Gayatri will be Lakshmi Cha Vidmahe Vishnupati Cha Dhimahi Tanno Lakshmi Prachodaya. So in this manner, all the 24 have their own mantras in which you can actually activate that particular Dev of that granthi or that gland. Now, all these 24 mantras also have what is called the power of the mantra, the energy of the mantra. So those 24 mantras also have the different powers of the mantra, different energies that it generates within the body. And once you do the Gayatri mantra, it is all a combine of all and gives you that divine light of all the 24 akshars through the Devi Devtas, and the mantras are all combined into one.
Ji, Raji, there's so much more we want to learn from you. And it's almost 10 now, and there are some questions that we need to take on also. So I was wondering, can I request you to do another session with us next Sunday where we can discuss the practical way of doing the mantra. So where we can discuss about the right position, the best time to do the mantra, how we should recite. So can we have another practical class with you next Sunday, please?
Certainly, why not?
Yeah, because there is so much more we would like to learn, but I think वक्त जरूर बीच में आ जाता है. हाँ जी.
It's such an exhaustive subject.
Absolutely.
You can go on and on and on, but the best thing is to be absorbed in that depth.
Ji. And that's something that we would like to learn from you. And in the meanwhile, if I could just share some of the questions that have come up here. Yeah. Ji, Mr. Wadhwa would like to know, can we do the Gayatri Mantra along with the mantra given to us by our Guruji?
What does that mean? Is the Gayatri Mantra given to you by a Guruji or not?
No, along with, so if there's another mantra given, so can we add the Gayatri Mantra to the, and do it, or do it simultaneously, not add it, I'm sorry, I think that would be wrong, but do it simultaneously while doing the Guru Mantra as well as the Gayatri Mantra.
Oh, yeah. It would be most beneficial. When my Gurudev gave me the mantra, we used to do all the mantra, all the 4 or 5 months together. Of course, there are certain timings that this is the best timing for Gayatri Mantra, this is the best timing for Mahamrityunjay Mantra, do the Chamunda at this time, or the Raksha Mantra at this time, and the Guru Mantra at this time, or the mixture of the Sanjeevani Mantra at this time. So you can do all of them together, of course, simultaneously.
We have a statement made here by Sandhya ji, which says, a whole lot of complications. She's talking about how the Gayatri Mantra helped in healing medical conditions as serious as cancer and Alzheimer's, speech loss, epilepsy, and things like that. And how by doing that mantra continuously, it creates miracles. So have you, Rajiji, witnessed any miracles that have happened by doing the Gayatri Mantra?
Yes, I have. But if you want to know about a miracle in a visual form, well, I can tell you instances where it has helped me save my life many times. Something that's going to happen, which is called unhoni, jo honi thi wo tal gayi. It has happened me. I know in one time in Bombay, many years ago, when I would say maybe somewhere in the late 70s, I used to visit Bombay quite frequently for my business, and many times when Guruji was there, it was a blessing to be with him and to be part of the seva that was performed at one of the stands in Bombay. I recollect a lady who had a very peculiar kind of a condition. If she would just say, blood would come out of her mouth. She could be hundreds of times during the day. She had gone to several doctors. Her husband was in Air India, and he had taken her all over the world. This problem with the lungs, there's no problem with the lungs, you do this, you have to do that, this. They couldn't detect or find out what was the cause. Then somebody said, oh, you know what? We don't know, but it's coming from this point. We'll have to remove the lung, we'll cut it up. So they came to this town. And then Guruji, I used to do a lot of Gayatri at that time. In the water, submerged in water. He said, Raji, you take away this lady's problem. So there was a certain technique that we used to do at that time, which of course is not now anymore. So I took it away. Once I took it away, I coughed a little bit and came out a dot of blood from my mouth into my hand. From that day, till last I met that lady, maybe, or a husband I met maybe 15, 17 years ago. She had never got blood from me.
Wow.
The healing power of Gayatri.
Wow.
When you talk about the glands, this is what it is. You see, when that light comes into you, it is the bharata. It is a manifesting light. That is why Gayatri is known as the Utpatti one that is the creating one. So it is, of course, there have been several other instances. Not only that, but in terms of vision, in terms of when you're doing your Gayatri path. So those are personal experience which one has to keep to oneself. But if everybody does it, it's same for everyone. The sunlight is same for everyone. It's same for the plants, same for us, for the animals, and also to the dark room till such time we don't open the window. When you open the window, sunlight comes in, no? The same for everyone. So just that how you do the intent if you are doing the right thing.
Gee, lovely, fabulous, Ji. We're looking forward to hearing many more such stories and experiences in our session. But before that, there's a question by Vinay saying that can you explain about the siddhi of the Gayatri Mantra? Its connectivity with the Guru. Does the siddhi can that be carried forward in multiple life forms, or how does it work?
Get your question. Could you repeat it, please?
Ji, the siddhi of the Gayatri Mantra, the Gayatri Mantra becoming siddh. Ji, could you explain about that, and how does that work? Does it get carried forwarded to multiple lives, or how does the siddhi work?
Everything gets carried to the next life and multiple lives till such time you want to carry it. But I do not, siddhi is not what my guru had taught me to be. Siddhi means for a certain purpose. The purpose is not that spiritual purpose. Siddhi becomes a very defined, personified, objective chanting or meditation of Gayatri. To me, the right way to do Gayatri is to be absorbed in it. What do you want to do with Siddhi? What do you want to do? You want to fly? Oh, of course you can fly with Gayatri. You can, with one breath, you can make mountains turn into gold. But do you want to do that? Do you want to fly? Hey, listen, birds also fly. What will you achieve? So the thing is to fly that Atma into that divine soul which is there, right here, within you, this moment, all the time. So that is why we get deviated from our objective, from our spiritual meditation. So the spiritual meditation takes a form of a desire to be. But once you are absorbed, what happens? All that light, where does it go when it comes to you? It gets into your glands. It gets into your blood system. It gets into your anus and the pramanus. It gets into your DNA. Would you want to do that? That's, oh, I have now mastered. If I were to do, oh, that chair is going to fly away. I can't sit. Get absorbed. Let it absorb you, and you absorb with it. let the absorption be complete. That completeness of the absorption is the purpose of Gayatri. And if you meditate on Gayatri with that purpose, it's very soon that you get to know that there is really no difference between the Atma and the Paramatma. That is the whole purpose that you're doing, going on the spiritual path. So I would suggest to whoever wants to do Gayatri Mantra, don't do with the objective of mere ko siddhi karni. That's it. What will we achieve? Forget even moksha. You know, just be absorbed. Once this absorption is complete.
Ji. Ji. Beautiful.
That's my take on it.
Yes. I mean, we take one last question for the evening is, I read somewhere that the constant moving of the universe created a sound, and Rishi Vishwamitra put words to that sound and created the Gayatri Mantra. Is this how the mantra was created?
You see, that's what I explained to you earlier, that it is the combination of the nad, the sounds, that you put in together in a meter form, in the prosody form. The prosody form is the chand, is the meter. So when you put it in that form, for instance, you go to a concert and there's this orchestra playing and somebody plays the flute or the piano. So all these are done on a certain note. So that note seems so soothing, so nice, so beautiful. You say, what a lovely, the concert that we went to, and what a performance it was. Similarly, it's the thing here. That is why the sound, or what is called, we call it the swar. So there are swars, there are 7 swars. So the 7 swars make everything together. So it's the swar along with the akshar that makes that music sound so beautiful. Which is called sa re ga ma pa dha ni. These are the 7 swars. It's the same in
the mantra.
No, in the mantra, but this is the swar. See, there's a difference between swar and akshar. The swar is how it is sung. That is why Gayatri, there are 2 meanings of Gayatri. Gayan, Gaya, the one that sings. And also Ga, Ititre, Gayatitre, which means the one that dispels or takes away the sins and sorrows and all the malice. That's why it's so. The Ga, but it's got a lot of other meanings. What is the Ga is the go, and why does the go? Those are very deep, going into the words and akshars and the meanings of them. But here, it's the prosody that is important, and the swars make it.
Ji.
Music and the sound of music. What is that? Julie.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol.
Yes, that's right. It's the same. There are also 7 sounds.
Right.
Do, re, mi, so, yeah.
So here there was a question put by Romaji saying, Rajiji, no, I'm sorry, that was by Dimpleji saying that can incurable diseases also be healed by chanting the Gayatri Mantra? I think Rajiji just did give an example of that as to how diseases can be done. But Rajiji, if you could throw some light on it in terms of how can the diseases, what the intent of doing the mantra should be or means.
Just a little while ago, you had said that the scientists have made experiments that they have, with this they were able to improve that thing. The brothers, they were able to improve the other thing. I have
Right.
also, I know in Australia, they used to do Gayatri Mantra. And with the Havan of the Gayatri Mantra, they put it in the fields. And the yield from those fields was many, many times more. The experiment was done in Australia.
Right.
Now tell me, with just those ashes of nothing but wood, you could get that barren piece of land to produce. How did it happen? Some power. What is that power? It's a power of the consciousness of that material that mixed with the consciousness of the earth. And where did that conscious power come from? It came from the mantra. Where did the mantra come from? It came from sound. So if you could improve, you could grow vegetables in a field in a barren land and get more produce than the other. After all, this is a human body. What is it you can't do with it? That is how it affects the glands. And what do the glands do? They become vibrant. They become free of all diseases, of all toxics. That's what it does. That is why it's a Gayatri. Toxins, all the sins, of course. But it is your conviction. It is your belief. See, सबसे पहले the important thing is your Vishwas. Tell me, we all have Vishwas in that Almighty. Now, I would say, very strange. Somebody you haven't seen, who's no name, no address, no phone number, no email ID, no Zoom call. Hey, who are you worshipping? But you say, no, there is something. Who's that divine one? There is a divinity that exists. So it is a belief. Belief in what? The invisible. That is that invisible Savita, which you see is embodied and manifested as the Savita or the sun by your eyes. It is the same manifestation of that minutest intellect, which is of vacuous nature, which makes it so huge as the whole world and the whole universe. It is the same Atma, which you can't see. It's on this big, huge body, and you say, oh, the Atma, beautiful one. Where is it? But you're आपको एहसास हो रहा है, you're feeling it, that there is. That isness is what it is. That is the belief in the Sat of that existence.
Beautiful, Ji. This inspires us to want to learn more about how we can practice, the ways to practice, the time that we should practice the mantra. So, dear audience, please do tune in next Sunday again with another session with Raji Ji on how to practice the Gayatri Mantra. Raji Ji, with this, thank you very much for your time and looking forward to connecting again next Sunday.
Certainly, sir.
More on Gayatri Mantra.
Okay, pranam.
Thank you, Ji. Thank you. And dear audience, we have pinned our previous session on Mantra Vidya. For those who missed it, you could go on and hear that again and watch the presentation that we made on Mantra Vidya, which has been pinned on the comment section for you. And thank you so much for your time. Shubh Ratri, Sayonara, Khuda Hafiz. Good night.
Okay.